You know, I'm still in the camp where I'm like, I really want to enjoy snow. I really want to be in snow, and I get it. Everybody's all like, "Oh boy, snow plows and places being shut down and unable to leave your house and powers out." And yes, I get it. That's that's part of the whole
Wait,
package. That's part of the whole package. But
something
wait,
just
what?
dawned on me.
What?
You're just going up to penguins and sea lions and just destroying them. Like just
Yes.
you're just murdering them all.
Crash cares not for native wildlife. He's a rebel.
Yeah,
That's actually a running theme. He really is a jerk to animals.
he's secretly the villain.
Here
As
we
in,
go again.
as in those aren't well. I mean, not as a joke. I mean, he just goes into somewhere, sees the native wildlife just living, and it's like they're in my way, and just kills all of them.
Well, there is that part in Crash. Whoops. There is that part in Crash 1 where he sees a warthog just minding its own business. Then he eyes the camera and immediately jumps on it and forces it as his steed.
That's hilarious.
Yep. But yeah, back to what I was saying about snow. Just, yeah, I get the whole thing about having to shovel it or whatever is part of the package. But that's like saying, just like somebody who lives in a cold place, man, I really wish I could live in the warmer places. Like, oh man, but what about sunstroke? And it's gonna be so hot. And we get it, okay? We get it. The point is that I just want to experience snow as is, and sure, whatever comes with that, I'll say whatever I need to say about it when I experience it. But snow has always been on my list for things I want to experience at least once. Unfortunately, well, the only time I forget exactly when I went to America when I was 4, but when I went to America when I was 16, it was winter, and it was nice and cold, and oh my god, but it wasn't, but it was in Florida, so then again, what am I saying? Just some crazy stuff's been happening in Florida with some cool weather lately, but it was in an area where nothing really happened. But man, just the feeling of walking outside and cold air, just like it's not even just like cold air lightly brushing against your face. It's cold air just punching you, just reeling up and sucking you in the mouth. Just like, yep, it's winter. Have fun. Just you'd think so, but it feels exhilarating. It's like it's not cold in the air wasn't cold enough that I'm like, well, back inside. But it okay. This is sort of a personal thing. But remember that one time where we were at school and there was a huge wind blowing. Yeah, and our spirits just like felt free and everything like that. Think that, but slightly colder. Yeah, and just like waking up in the morning, just like have that, just be there. It was so great, man. It was beautiful. Not only that, but it was also just something I need to bring up. Is just that our world is weird because because of how time and our axes work. Just the sun still being up at around certain points in summer. Just we live close to the close enough to the
What
equator.
just happened?
Oh well, I jumped on TNT, and then I went on destroyed the nitro crate.
Alrighty.
Yeah, but we live in a place close enough to the equator that it doesn't really notice. But just it baffles me that there are just places where, depending on the season, it will be like close to 9 o'clock and the sun is just close to 9 p.m. and the sun is just setting.
Oh, I've experienced that.
Well, lucky you, you get to experience the feeling of being like in another dimension, or in the cases of like with Finland or whatever, at least from stories I've heard, it being like 4 in the morning and the sun's just like, hey buddy, let's go. But yeah, I want to experience all of that at least once. Oh right. Well, we've cleared all the stages, so now it's time to fight Engine, which just as standard protocol dictates, he's built a giant flying robot, and so we just have to take that down again. They really could have. Looks like it doesn't look like he's even piloting anything. It just looks like his face is just plastered on it.
Yeah, it looks like a cardboard cutout of the boss battle.
Yeah. Poor Engine though, he keeps making these advanced flying machines and keeps making different calibrations for them, specifically to beat Crash and Coco, but he always seems to just fit. It's one of those things where the protagonist really doesn't look like he should win if you look at the circumstances objectively. Because yeah, Crash is skilled and strong, but he's also actually insane.
Did you just die?
Yeah, I just died.
Alright, continue.
Yeah, but he is also actually insane, kind of uncoordinated, not at all smart, just said pretty dumb, and can't really think long term. He's also quite gullible. So
how does he survive as a main character?
exactly. The only thing is that he's just very skilled with what he does. And then in later levels, using the power of the magical mass, he gains power to mind control. But yeah. Either way, those games aside, just his enemies are almost, if they're not super mutants created by the evil geniuses, because he's one of the super mutants created by them too. It's the evil geniuses themselves, like an entire band of evil geniuses and an ancient death mask, just that wants to plunge the world into 1,000 years of darkness. And this crazy jeans pants wearing mutant Bandicoot just happens to be just good enough to always stop their plans. Sure, he might get help from time to time, but still, it just doesn't make any sense that these absolute geniuses, as I said, Cortex in this game, literally on a whim, said, you know what, screw Crash, I'm going to try and focus on taking over the world. And they made a beam that would shrink the Earth. And he just did it. He just decided to do it, and he did it.
Yeah, I think...
Oh, hey, Coco, you're in this game too. I didn't even remember. You clearly could have been drawn better, especially since this is a very still cutscene, but, yeah.
Yeah, I think they could have worked harder. Well, I mean, it's the whole conceit of the game, but it usually doesn't feel so... separate isn't the word, but so far off between the ability of the main characters and the villains. Like, because when you're talking about this, I'm thinking about Donkey Kong Country, where Donkey Kong only just runs and jumps, but his enemies aren't super mutant. They're just guys who are jerks. Like in Tropical Freeze, his enemies are just jerks who come from the north. And I mean, the Tiki people in Returns have superpowers. The Kremlins have like army numbers, but
And technology.
And what?
And technology. Kremlins have technology.
Yeah, they have technology, but in the end, it seems they are not like their capabilities is super far off from what we normally see. I mean, one thing you could say, the bosses of each individual world, like in when you're fighting the robot in 3, that does seem kind of funny. But I mean, there everyone just wants to steal bananas pretty much. It's not like these are super villains trying to take over everything.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
In Tropical Freeze, it's just them taking over the island because they're nomads. Are like, yep, this is our home now.
yeah, and I'm thinking Mario. Mario's just a plumber, but they I don't
With
know
amazing athletic ability.
I don't know how they pulled it off, but
By the way, I don't know how I'm pulling this off.
this is ridiculous.
Just seriously, look at this. It's all super crazy. Anyways, continue what you're saying.
For some reason, I haven't been hearing sound in my video for like a minute and a half, so I sure hope it's still going on. Goodness.
Yeah, I sure hope it's still going on. As in, I can't. My sound is completely turned off, so I can't even.
Oh, it's back now.
What?
That was
oh
weird.
no, that might actually. Oh dear. Okay, let's hope for the best, because if nothing's wrong, we're just sounding like total paranoid. Okay, we're just sounding totally paranoid. But yeah, the whole gap behind is because here's the thing. It's not like even in later Crash games where they change the style completely. Just there's still there's still huge genius scientists and prodigies and whatever that they're fighting against, and the thing is that in those games, Cortex and all of his minions just ramp up the mutant production, because as you see here, Crash when he goes throughout levels, he either fights Neocortex's robot minions, which are barely in this game, but you know, he either fights Cortex's robot minions, or just the hostile wildlife, with some exceptions.
Hostile is just him putting that there so that he doesn't have to feel bad about killing all these animals. But continue.
Well, there's some animals that really have it out for him. But yeah, those are just many types of robot minions and hostile animals. So in the later Crash games, Cortex and the others ramp up mutant production and mutant quality to combat Crash. So now his now his regular enemies are mutants just like him, and his bosses are super mutants. So sure, Crash gets a new power of mind control with Aku Aku and all that stuff to control lesser mutants to do his bidding, but still, it's kind of jarring, just like how much he can accomplish. Even in Crash Twinsanity, what he manages to do is he really should not be able to. If you think about it, at least.